The Michael Berry Show.
You know him as the Motor City Madman. I know him as Uncle Ted, one of our favorite guests of all time. Heck, one of our favorite people of all time. Leave the music, the hunting, the cooking, the politics, just an inspiration in life. Ted Nugent, welcome to the program.
You know, Mike, I feel welcome. And from a favorite people to another favorite people, I'm talking to you from a beautiful monsoon in Waco, Texas. So happy 2025 to you, my friend.
Yeah, we needed it, though, didn't we?
Oh, I love the rain. I love Mother Nature, even when she gives me the middle finger. I love storms until the damage begins. But, yeah, I've got a beautiful ranch here in Texas, and the vegetation, the range is lush and productive. The wildlife are celebrating. They're growing many new backstraps for the fall harvest, so I'm a happy rock and roller.
Well, it's always a blast to have you on because you bring such a message of hope, inspiration, dedication, commitment, motivation. I think happiness is a choice that we make. And more than happiness, contentment, fulfillment, purpose, and by golly, you found yours, brother.
Well, and Michael, back at you. I mean, I'm addicted to truth, logic, and common sense. Not my truth, logic, and common sense, but the evidence-drenched truth, logic, and common sense that you represent so eloquently, so beautifully, and with a crowbar when necessary. But I listen to Michael Berry Radio, and you represent the heartbeat, the spirit, the attitude, the energy, the hope, the dreams. I mean, I know this gets kind of mushy right now.
No, not at all.
We are coming out of
enough about you, more about me.
We're coming out of a very heartbreaking toilet flush by the deep state Uncle Sam Joe Biden gang, and there is unbelievable hope right now. I'll be 77, and I've never been more hopeful. I've never been more happy with the direction of our country. And plus, I just had lunch with a bunch of hardworking fellow Texans here, and the spirit and the work ethic, God, family, country is now the battle cry that is ubiquitous across the land, and my music represents that. You and I talking about it represents that. So once again, thank you for having me on.
Let's do something we don't do enough of, and we'll get back to politics and culture and life and cooking and hunting. Let's talk about your music, the 50th anniversary of Stranglehold. It's hard to believe. I don't know if it's hard for you to believe. It's hard to believe 50 years, and I know you've got some very exciting things for fans planned out for that. Let's discuss that.
Well, am I not? We've talked about this before, that my music has power and authority because of the incredible musicians that have been at my side for the last 65 years. And we recorded Stranglehold in 1975 with Rob Grange and Cliff Davis and Derek St. Holmes, my producers Tom Werman and engineer Tony Reale. And everybody just immersed themselves into the spirit, the sound, the drum tones, the guitar tones, the bass tones, the lyric content, the piss and the vinegar, the energy of that song. And people have embraced the song Stranglehold 50 years and onward, especially, Michael, the Navy SEALs that call me, the Army Rangers, the Green Beret, Delta Force that use that song during their training and when they're putting their life on the line. And I can't imagine a testimonial that gives a guy more confidence and happiness that a piece of music represents that to those superhuman beings. So, 50 years of struggle. And by the way, I played it for a buddy of mine in my man cave cuckoo's nest, Arsenal of Democracy this morning, and the hairs on my arms stood up fully erect because I still love the spirit of that song.
Well, it is timeless. It is truly timeless. And I don't know that we've ever done this. Let's talk about where that song came from, because I believe that art floats in the ether and you just grab hold of it for a moment. But what was going on with you? How did you first hear it? Were you noodling on the guitar, or did you hear it completely? Tell me about that.
Well, I'm always playing. I play my guitar and shoot my bow and train with my firearms, literally, Michael, every day. It's stuff that I have a passion about. They all play a pragmatic and inspirational purpose in my life. But in my youth, I was always playing Chuck Berry and Bo Diddley and Little Richard and Motown Funk Brothers. And the right hand on my guitar developed a percussiveness, a rhythmical, kind of a Nugent Motor City version of Bo Diddley's Chukka Chukka Chukka. And just one day I was tuning my guitar, and that happened. That groove happened, and there was really nothing I could do about it. It had a heartbeat of its own, and then the lyrics just flowed. The lyrics are defiance against the music industry that turned me down for all those years because long guitar solos don't make it anymore. We need some pop music, and disco's coming in. And I said, yeah, well, listen to this song, kids. So the song is one of defiance against an industry that was losing its touch with the original black influences of soul music and rhythm and blues inspired rock and roll. So like this morning, Michael, I was playing a Gibson Birdland through a Fender Twin Amp, and I'm telling you, all these new variations, kind of a bastardized honky-tonk meets boogie-woogie, and there's always new topography to explore on the guitar neck. And because I have such a passion and a dedication to trying to be Chuck Berry when I grow up, that all these new licks and patterns happen. It happens all the time.
You know, you have talked a lot over the years in our conversations about Chuck Berry. And I think a lot of young folks today will have no idea how big Chuck Berry was and also how influential Chuck Berry was. Why is that for you?
Well, I think I've summarized it numerous times in interviews, and the facts remain that there's not a piece of music. Now, this is a bold, expansive statement, which I'm pretty good at, but there isn't a piece of music, Michael Berry, that you really get a kick out of and want to turn up when it comes on the radio and makes your truck go faster that doesn't have an essence of what Chuck Berry created. Cadence-wise, rhythmically, upbeat spirit-wise, cocky, irreverent, fun. There is not a powerful piece of music in anyone's life, and I'd be glad to debate this with anybody, that doesn't have a direct inspiration from Chuck Berry's catalog. I don't care if it's country, I don't care if it's blues, I don't care if it's rock and roll, even a lot of pop music. They've got that Chuck Berry cadence that when you listen to Johnny B. Good or Carol or Roll Over Beethoven or Sweet 16, you listen to those original Chuck Berry songs, and it's apparent that all moving, authoritative music comes from that genius. And Michael, I played bass guitar with Chuck Berry, which is why I am like I am today, I promise you.
Well, your life experiences, of course, they didn't happen by chance. You made them happen. You made your experience. Oh, I'm up against a break. Hold on just a moment. Uncle Ted Nugent is our guest. You can find out more at tednugent.com, tednugent.com. If you are a Nuge fan, he's got some exciting stuff coming up at nugevault.com, nugevault.com. We'll talk more about that.
It's Ramon, the king of ding. And this other guy, Michael Berry.
These are the kind of guys you like to smack in the ass.
Uncle Ted Nugent, the Motor City Madman, is our guest. And normally, over the years, and it's been many, that he comes on the show, we talk about politics, we talk about culture, we talk about who he's pissed off lately, what changes he wants, or we talk about hunting and food and family and nature and faith and these important things. But today is a treat for me because I figure he's tired of talking about music all the time, and there's much more to him than that. But today we're getting to talk about the music, and that's a treat because I don't normally get to. Uncle Ted, you have something exciting going on at the Nuge Vault, which is nugevault.com. Talk about that, please.
Well, again, Michael, thanks for letting me share my passions and my love of music and the American dream with you. I'm just such a lucky guy with all these incredible, dedicated musicians at my side. In 2025, with John Coots on drums and Jason Hartless and Johnny Big on bass, we're playing Kenny Storr in Brenham, Texas next weekend. And we've been doing these speakeasies around the state. And I'm telling you, talking about defying gravity, I am having more guitar music fun in 2025 doing these gigs around my home state of Texas than I ever have. In fact, I will be doing my 7,000th concert. And what happened during rehearsals in the barn in Michigan is my drummer, Jason Hartless, saw all these vats and all these boxes piled sky high around my trucks and my deer blinds. And he said, "What's all that stuff?" And I go, "Oh, those are old tapes of rehearsals and jam sessions and recording sessions." He started digging. Michael, he has unearthed the jam sessions and the songwriting sessions and the outtakes and the demos and the unfinished tapes of all the recordings thousands of concerts, and it's just fascinating history of not just Ted Nugent rock and roll, but the origins of rock and roll from the founding fathers, the Chuck Berrys and the Motown Funk Brothers. And now at Nuge Vault, it's fascinating. It's a place called NugeVault.com. We've got these subscribers that are just doing double back flips because of the outtakes and the demos and the jam sessions and a lot of my very fun interviews like I do with Michael Berry. But all of this is available at NugeVault.com, and people are just having a riot with it. And so am I, because it's really rekindling a lot of the memories of just unbelievable moments where these songs happened and these jam sessions created these new songs and these amazing musicians would collaborate with ideas. So it's NugeVault.com, and we'll be exposing a lot of that on a bunch of gigs here in Texas and then up in Michigan in August.
You know, and I know that's special for you. You're a Texan now through and through, but I know Michigan holds a special place in your heart. I had a Sunday school teacher say to me 25 years ago, if you want to know who you said to all of us in the class, if you want to know who you're going to be 5 years from now, look at your closest friends, because they're going to pick you up or they're going to drop you down. They're going to take you with them where they're going. That's where you're headed. And it's interesting. I talk to a lot of musicians. I'm passionate about music. I can't make music, but somebody has to consume it, right? And I'm really passionate about how the art is made and what it means to people and these sorts of things. And you talk about collaboration. Every time you and I talk, and I ask you a question about Ted Nugent and what Ted Nugent has done, you always go to a Chuck Berry comes up a lot. You always go to the influences and the collaboration. And I think that's a takeaway where whatever you're in, if you're a financial advisor or a plant worker, the people you surround yourself with and bounce off of are going to make you better or worse. And I hear that from you every time I talk to you, how playing with other people and their influences and those collaborations is a thrill for you and has made you who you are. And I think that's important.
I don't think there's anything more important. My dad used to say as I was growing up, tell me who you hang with and I'll tell you who you are. Now, I dismissed that in my stupidity of youth, but it turned out to be true. And I have an inner circle, quite an expansive inner circle, Michael, which, by the way, you're a member of good people of spirit, goodwill and decency, work ethic, God, family, country, still conduct our lives based on the Constitution, the Bill of Rights, the Declaration of Independence, the Ten Commandments, the Golden Rule, law and order, good over evil, self-defense, freedom of speech, et cetera, et cetera. And those are the people that I have accumulated in my family, my friends, my band, my crew, my management, my hunting buddies. I have a hunting operation called Sunrise Safaris. And Michael, I share campfires with hundreds and hundreds of families every year. And that's why I salute you, because when you talk just like those families around the campfire that put their heart and soul into being the best that you can be. And when you put your heart and soul into being the best that you can be as a musician, great music happens. So I've always surrounded myself with the best rhythm section, the best singers, the best creators, and you hear that in the music. The performance that these guys put into my compositions is every artist's dream, because there's a passion. And by the way, we keep mentioning Chuck Berry. Everybody in all of my bands and all of my crew, everybody references Chuck Berry. So that cadence, that spirit, that energy, that uppiness, that defiance. There was a lot of defiance in that music, and that's what inspires us. And even though we're old men now, Michael, when we get in the barn and start jamming, it's like a bunch of kids. It's like a bunch of kids that want to play Chuck Berry and Bo Diddley and play Motown hits. In fact, we do. That's how all of our rehearsals start, with those classic songs. And once you start hitting those rhythms and those movements, all of a sudden it can become your own when you create your own chord patterns, your own melodies, your own lyrics, and your own arrangements. And that's attributed to these unbelievable musicians that are at my side. Again, John Kutz on drums out of Waco, Texas. Jason Hartless on drums out of Nashville. Johnny Big out of Waco here on bass and vocals. I hope you can come to Brenham on Saturday the 31st of May. The music has never been more tight. James Brown would hire us as his band. We're so tight and so energetic. So these are the good old days of my music, I'm telling you.
You know, the Kinney store is where he's going to be, by the way, which is a great, great venue owned by two cops. And they're fantastic people. They have a very loyal audience there. And get there early. The food is actually amazing. Ted Nugent is our guest. You know, you inspire me. You talk about your age and the number of years you've done this. Two of the people I admire the most in the world for what they do in their art and their craft are Hank Williams Jr. and Dan Pastorini, both of whom turned 76 on Tuesday of this week. I got to tell you, I bet when you were early in your career, nobody would have said that Ted Nugent would be an inspiration for longevity and happiness. But by golly, you have been, and that's in and of itself incredible.
I'm on a mission from God, Michael. Yeah. No, it's about work ethic. It's about dedication to providing for your family and being in the asset column, being willing to make risks and sacrifices so that there's only two columns. There's the asset column and there's a liability column. And my dad disciplined / forced us into being in the asset column, be productive members of our family, our neighborhood, our community, our great nation, and as a sportsman, as a hunter and a trapper and a fisherman, an asset to the good earth that provides us quality of life. So
Uncle Ted, can you hold for just a moment?
Man.
Can you hold for just a moment?
Sure,
Ted
absolutely.
Nugent is our guest, tednugent.com. More coming up. A new project called the Nuge Vault. You can find it at nugevault.com. It's described as your front row seat to submerge yourself in rock and roll history like never before. This is occasioned by Ted Nugent's celebration of the 50th anniversary of his iconic rock album. Not album, it's an anthem. Not an album. Sorry, Ramon, I lost my train of thought. Stranglehold. He's got a speakeasy rock out gig tour going on. He's going to be at the Kinney store this weekend on the 31st. He's got a blank kicker. I'm not allowed to say it, but it rhymes with pit. Kicker speakeasy rockouts in Michigan and Texas this spring and summer. Uncle Ted played for us at the RCC, and I will tell you a couple of takeaways I have from that, folks. Number one is people love Uncle Ted. We sold out just like that. We sold out fast. Number two is we have never needed so much sound. There was an entire 18-wheeler of speakers that came in. It was insane. I mean, insane. Number three, this guy's been doing this for more years than I've been alive, and he does not mail it in. You pay good money, and he gives you everything he's got on stage and before and after. And as a venue owner, that mattered more to me than anything else. And I don't know if I've ever thanked you for that, but that was a hell of a night, brother.
Every night. Thank you for that, Michael. And you're right. There is an energy level that the real music lovers bring to me, and the inspiration from the audience is actually dangerous. I mean, I sweat so much on stage. We have Ducks Unlimited come in because they expect to flush a mallard from my puddle of sweat on stage. Yes, there's a James Brown work ethic that we deliver every night. And I tell my band before we go on, tonight is the most important concert of our life. And we say that every night because every night is the most important concert of our life. We want to deliver the beast, the grind, the groove, the fun, the spirit, the piss and the vinegar, the middle finger against all things evil, which I weave into the wonderful, entertaining evening. But yeah, well, thank you for that, because the people do rave about our shows because I'm out of control. I mean, I get on stage. I can't wait to get on stage and play these songs as a guitar player. I just happen to have created some of the most exciting and fun guitar licks to ever play. So I'm still like a crazy kid back in Detroit in 1959 when I get ready to perform every night. And I think the people have noticed that. They celebrate that. And the reciprocity from audience to stage is like a tsunami of energy. So once again, how lucky can I be?
All right, I'm going to ask you a series of questions, but I'm not going to let Ted Nugent be Ted Nugent. I just want you to give the shortest, most succinct answer you can, and without giving it much thought, just whatever pops in your brain, okay?
You got it.
You're going to walk out right now and pick up a bow and shoot it. It's the bow that's going to allow you to be most accurate. What is it?
I'm shooting a new Matthews lift, lightweight, 48-pound draw. The mystical flight of the arrow has never been more accurate with this technology, so that's the bow of my choice these days.
Is there an arrow of choice? I don't know a lot about archery.
You know, I'm shooting some gold tip arrows. They've been making the Ted Nugent Zebra gold tip arrow for years, but I'm also experimenting with a bunch of other arrows. The state of archery and marksmanship, firearms and optics and ammo is at an all-time high, so it's about what you're most comfortable with, what feels good to you. And it is important that that bow or that gun feels right, and that's the one you should shoot.
All right, not your favorite, but if I asked you right now to lay your hands, and it might be on your hip, might be in your pocket, it might be on the table next to you, on the nearest handgun, what would it be?
It's the same Glock Model 2010 millimeter that's on my right hip, along with 4 magazines on my left hip. Every day, everywhere. Once Ted Nugent shows up, it is no longer a gun-free zone. I promise you that.
All right. What about what knife you could lay your hands on the fastest right now?
I've got my old Victorinox pocket knife in my left pocket, and I got a brand new Steel Force folding knife on my right pocket, and I have a Leatherman tool on my left hip. I'm on like a hardware store.
What meat did you most enjoy that you ate at home that you killed within the last week?
A beautiful sow pig right here on the North Bosque River with my bow and arrow, and she was just about 75, 80 pounds, and it was the most delicious backstrap with garlic and pepper and honey. I swear to God, it's the meat of the gods.
Now, will you make chops and bacon and all that out of her?
Absolutely, yeah, we use it all, man.
Good for you. The pooter, the what do they say? The rooter to the tutor. That's the way to do it, especially with the.
Yeah, that's called conservation, the wise use of a natural resource. And I always say the cuter the critter, the sweeter the meat.
Mm. Now, is that a culinary reference?
I think it is. That's why I like lamb chops so much.
I do too. I like the lamb lollipops. I don't know why that is, but it's just such a
yes, with the bone. You got to have the bone.
Well,
in there.
It's just like it's a built-in handle. You know, it's like a toothbrush you can eat. I absolutely love it. All right, tell me a movie that you have watched in the last month. It may not be the all-time greatest or what you want to be defined by, that you really enjoyed.
Man on Fire with Denzel Washington. I'm a big fan of revenge.
Yes, me too. Vindication. Very good. Okay. Tell me somebody that you are good friends with, a celebrity, from whatever field, that people would be surprised you're friends with because y'all may not share the same political views.
Well, there's a gentleman who has a band called Rage Against the Machine. His name is Tom Morello, and he plays guitar on occasion with Bruce Springsteen. And Bruce Springsteen, even though he had his foot in his mouth more often than necessary, Bruce and Tom and I were all raised on Chuck Berry and Mitch Ryder music. So I will overlook the stupid politics and just jam on killer music. How's that?
I love it, and I can appreciate that. The art at that moment takes precedence. You know, it's really too bad because Springsteen has written some really good stuff, and I love his hardscrabble story, and I love his truth, and I mean his how he stayed true to New Jersey and the gritty, New Jersey streets. But my goodness, his mind is warped. It's absolutely warped. When's the last time you spoke to President Trump? I know he adores you.
Just a couple months ago, I'm congratulating him, and I'm bringing a lot of important issues to the forefront. Some people who have been illegally lawfared, like a felon farmer in Michigan who's never been arrested or given a speeding ticket, but he's now a felon because he had a bad muffler on a tractor, according to the jackboot thugs of the EPA. So we're seeking a pardon for this good man. Those are the kinds of issues that I fight for every day. And the great Donald Trump, who's a real commander-in-chief, he is addressing those. We got a sheriff pardoned in West Virginia who was lawfared, and there's been so much of that. We have a target-rich environment out there.
Yep, I think Ed Martin's going to do a great job at that. Uncle Ted, I'm up against a break. We always appreciate your time. TedNugent.com. You can go to the Nuge Vault, NugeVault.com. We love you, brother.
I love you back, Michael. Godspeed, buddy.
The Michael Berry Show.